And let's get into this final segment, the best segment. This is what we do. This is my favorite segment. I don't know. Is this your favorite segment, Joshua?
Oh man, excuse me. It's this stupid segment. It definitely catch me off guard. So you know what? I like it.
Yeah. So if y'all don't know how it works, basically what this is Joshua does not know what I've come up with. It's either an idea I've seen people make the argument for or an idea I've thought of for basically what the Ravens should be doing or it should be firing or something about the Ravens, basically saying, a hot take. I'll explain the take in its entirety and why it should happen. Then Joshua kind of reacts, and then we just overall discuss it, whether or not it's a stupid take or, maybe we should take it seriously. So if you clicked on this video and you're like, oh, this is so stupid, comment it down below. This is the point of this. Comment your thoughts, comment your opinions, because, this is this stupid take? So let us know if it's stupid or not. But here it is. The Ravens should not draft in the first round. I think a lot of Ravens fans are looking for the Ravens to trade Orlando Brown Jr., get that first round pick, or, possibly trade up in the first round, get a better edge rusher, get a better wide receiver. But I'm going to say the Ravens should trade out of the first round entirely, go back into the second round, and potentially get a third or fourth round pick in exchange for pick 27. And why this is because the depth at the positions that the Ravens need is actually very solid. The wide receiver class is actually the best class of positions in the entire draft, based on top 100 rankings and the amount of players from that position in the top 100. I believe there's 17 or 18 guys in the top 100 that are just wide receivers in this draft. And then you look at the edge rusher position, another position of need for the Ravens, and that's something where really most of them are late first round guys. There is not an edge rusher that's like, yeah, you got to draft this guy, if he's available on the board. Like, there aren't any. There's no Chase Youngs, Joey Bosa's, nobody like that. So, trading back and getting if we're early second round, Joseph Ossai is probably on the board. Very good edge rusher. Jason Oweh could still fall, early in the second round. Even the wide receivers, we don't know. I think Rashad Bateman will be taken in the first round, probably top 25. Unfortunately, I love Bateman, but Terrace Marshall Jr. could fall out of the first round, and that's a guy that's obviously very, very good. A lot of Ravens fans are big fans of Terrace Marshall Jr. So you could get a wide receiver, you could get edge rushers, also the center position. Creed Humphrey could fall and get taken early in the second round. Like, a lot of the guys that the Ravens are looking at are all, late first, early second round talents. They're, the guys that could fall to the Ravens aren't really in positions of need. Trayvon Moehrig is a safety, could fall to the Ravens, but like, is safety really in need? I don't think so. So overall, trade back just a little bit. Trade back to top 15 in the second round. Keep your second round pick. Get more picks later in the draft because, we talked about, earlier in this podcast episode, if you're just watching the video, check out the other video. We talked about day 2 wide receivers. There's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good, edge rushers. There's a lot of good tackles. This is a very deep offensive tackle class. There's a lot of guys that the Ravens could go after, but like, they're having limited picks and they don't have their 7th rounder because they traded it for the weapon, Josh Oliver. Whether or not he makes the roster. I love hyping up Josh Oliver. Dude's going to be a beast. But, so trading up is going to be very difficult, but if they had picks, they could trade back. I mean, heck, you could trade back and then you could trade back up. Get some better picks. And I just think that trading back could be really viable based on the positions of need and who could be available early in the second round. And also just looking at the 4th round players, whether it's, the offensive tackles or the wide receivers or even there's some good edge rushers in the 4th round. A lot of good players in this class at the positions that the Ravens need. Now, if it was like the Ravens need a quarterback, don't trade out of the first round. You're going to need that quarterback. Like, other positions, you're going to need to draft them, but defensive ends, edge rushers, wide receivers, I think it's good. I think the depth is good. The offensive tackles are good. I love the centers. The day 2 centers are all very good. So Joshua, and now I got to know, trading out of the first round, is it stupid?
If Rashad Bateman Terrence Marshall Jr. and Elijah Moore are not available at 27, then I would agree with trading our first round pick and possibly getting another second or third round. Um, is it crazy? Hell yeah. But is this part of the Ravens way? Hell yeah. So I wouldn't say it's a catch 22. No. This is
Yeah.
granted. I mean, we're not at Orange Mills. We're not talking to EDC. We're not in the war room with the guys. This is something that could possibly happen. Um, I don't feel like it's stupid. Just just to piggyback on, like you said, um, edge rusher, wide receiver. That's something. I mean, center as well. Possibly offensive tackle if Orlando Brown still feels the same way he feels. But either way, it's still a business, and we had to plan for the future, just in case we end up moving away. Um, I definitely feel like you and we don't need on defense. We don't find the diamonds in the roughs. Offensive guys, uh, we need those guys that have some name and some type of accountability and credibility to their name. So and you can find that in the day twos and day threes. Hell, day three you can find a star running back.
Yeah.
Day four, day five, you can find the best wide receiver known to man, Semi Fehoko.
Oh yeah. Of course.
That's our guy. That's our guy. I mean, y'all,
Oh
y'all,
yeah.
y'all know so many different stories. Y'all heard so many different stories of so many guys that made it to the NFL with crazy backgrounds. I mean, hell, Kurt Warner went to the Super Bowl, and where was he at? Bagging groceries at one point. So I mean, anything is possible. Anything can happen. I do trust the guys in the front office for at the Ravens organization. I mean, we do have one of the best front offices in the whole league, and we know how to pick some good guys. For the past couple of years, almost everybody from the first to the seventh round have played an impactful role in the upcoming season. So I definitely do not feel like this is a stupid idea. This is more of no, this is what the Ravens could possibly do, y'all.
Yeah.
Please understand it, and please do not get upset because wide receivers. Uh, yes, you have talent from first to seventh round, but edge rushers, you do not want to take a gamble on someone that may not be worth it in the first round because we're in a dire need. Yeah, we need edge rushers, but it's no reason to um, pull the trigger and then we get someone with a downside. So I
Yeah.
definitely feel like it definitely could be beneficial to us to trade away that 27 pick, possibly get an additional second or third round, or maybe even an additional fourth round. So I don't feel like it's stupid. I don't feel like it's stupid. I feel like this is the Ravens' way of doing things, catching us off guard and making us cry.
Yeah, it's definitely, interesting because that is kind of the Ravens way. The Ravens love to trade back, but just to add on to the point, I think people are completely forgetting about the fact that this is maybe the most unique draft in football history. How many guys in this draft class you're looking at them and it's like, oh yeah, this guy opted out. He didn't play last year. Like the amount of players where it's like, oh yeah, they didn't play last year. I'll bring up a name. Paulson Adebo was a projected first round pick before the NFL draft, before the NFL season was played, before college football was played. I saw mock drafts, Paulson Adebo, first round to the Chiefs, first round to the Niners. They're looking at, obviously, they weren't projecting the Niners at number 3 overall. They were like, top 25 team. But like these guys, and then now you look at it, it's like, oh, well, he opted out. So now all of a sudden he's a third, fourth round guy. You look at a guy like Gregory Rousseau, a guy who opted out, and that gave Jalen Phillips an opportunity. So Jalen Phillips would have been a backup if we hadn't seen that. So these scouting departments have to work very, very hard this year. Even Jamar Chase didn't play. Like opting out plays a huge factor. There's going to be a lot more diamonds in the rough because of the limited film and so many players where it's like, oh yeah, I played in the Big Ten. We only played in 7 games because it took way longer for the season to start. So it's a very, very unique draft, and the scouting departments are going to have to be on point But at the same time, that means that guys are going to slide. Interesting players and interesting talents are going to be available in unique positions, unlike we've ever seen before, because it's very rare for a guy to be like, for, I don't know, a 10th of the draft to be like, yeah, we didn't play last year. Like that's never happened before. So that's just another thing that just adds to how interesting this draft will be. And I think that trading out, I don't think it's stupid whatsoever. And especially if, like, you know, if they're sitting at 27 and Trayvon Moehrig is available, I guarantee there are some teams that are calling the Baltimore Ravens saying, we want to trade with you. Like maybe it's Jacksonville. Jacksonville has pick 33 and they're like, man, we want Trayvon Moehrig. You know, we need a safety. Well, the Ravens could trade it for that, you know, get the first pick in the second round. And like, there's a lot of guys that could be there. The Ravens just don't need, whether it's, you know, a safety or a cornerback, you know, maybe Caleb Farley is falling. And like, there's so many guys that could be available that the Ravens don't need. And I think trading back, I think they, honestly, I'm going to add this. I think they will trade back. I don't think it's stupid unless Rashad Bateman is on the board. I think trading back can be fun. Even if Terrace Marshall is on the board, I would be okay with trading back. Even if Azeez Ojulari is on the board, I'm okay with trading back. Unless Rashad Bateman is on the board, I say trade back Ravens. But I feel like that's pretty much good for this episode. Anything else you want to add, Joshua?
No, man, I'm pretty good on that one.
All right. So everybody that's watching, make sure to check out undraftedsports.com. If anybody didn't know, Trust the Bank podcast is actually the podcast of the week on Trust the Bank on undraftedsports.com because I won the March Madness bracket challenge. almost 97th percentile. So shout out to Baylor. Shout out to Gonzaga. Shout out to all those guys for letting me win. But go check it out. You know, it's Sports Networks. A lot of fun. You know, a lot of articles. If you're interested in joining, you know, DM at Undrafted Media on Twitter. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the podcast. Check out the other stuff. Podcast will be back next week. And anybody watching on YouTube, I'll see all of you again tomorrow.